Okay, if you want me to give the city update first, I'm happy to do that. I can't remember the order on the agenda, but let me pull that up here really quick. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Franziska Rose. I am the Public Involvement Coordinator with the City of Beaverton. And normally you have Miles Glowacki. He's the Neighborhood Program Coordinator, but I am here in place of him. So let me pull up the February update here. So a couple of big pieces of news. The first one is regarding city manager recruitment. So it says that Beaverton is renewing our commitment to being a city that is welcoming, lively, and responsive. We are looking for a long-term city manager to keep the community's needs and wishes at the center of all that we do. The search process for the position has begun, which follows the interim city manager appointment from last year and includes hiring of an external search firm for facilitation support, engagement, and opportunities for feedback. Initial plans call for the competitive process to begin in March. A decision by City Council is expected to be announced in early summer. We need the community's help in identifying the ideal characteristics that will complement the work we are doing today and guide plans for tomorrow. To stay informed on next steps, opportunities to share your thoughts, and to be involved, you can go to www.beavertonoregon.gov/city manager, and I'll put that link in the chat when I'm done here. The city manager is council appointed and oversees most city operations, departments, and the budget. This person assists the mayor and city council with putting the city's vision, priorities, and directives into action. Last year, Beaverton voters approved a new city charter that became operational January 1st and changes the city's structure to a council manager form of government. And you can learn more about the charter changes at www.beavertonoregon.gov/charter. And then I've got an equity and public safety update. So during the past year, city leadership and community members have come together to learn and explore experiences with public safety, as well as address systemic racism within city structures and practices. We are engaging with the community to expand and implement positive change. The Human Rights Advisory Commission, HRAC, wrapped up the final session of the BPD for Beaverton Police Department HRAC inquiry sessions in January. The finalized recommendations were made available and presented to the City Council during an interactive roundtable meeting on January 26th. Topics included police funding, transparency, policy changes, community connection, and the School Resource Officer Program. A recording of that meeting is available on the Council agenda website, and video footage of previous meetings is on the HRAC website. And you can stay up to date with Beaverton's ongoing equity efforts and work with the community at beavertonoregon.gov/beheard. And then Beaverton receives a WIFIA loan. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has announced an $81 million Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Act loan to the city for water systems projects, saving Beaverton an estimated $31.3 million. The loan will help finance a series of projects that will enhance the reliability and resiliency of our water system and meet the needs of a growing area. The projects will construct major transmission mains, new water connections, seismic resilient drinking water storage, and more. Project construction and operation are expected to create more than 500 jobs. The WIFIA program is a federal loan program to accelerate investment in the nation's water infrastructure. For more information about that program, visit www.epa.gov/WIFIA. And for updates on the city's projects, visit beavertonoregon.gov/water. And last but certainly not least, Wccls eliminates overdue fines. Washington County Cooperative Library Services will no longer charge for overdue materials, and all existing overdue fines have been removed from patron accounts. This change has been made because the mission of Wccls is to serve all residents of Washington County equally, affordably, and with easy access. Studies have shown that overdue fines most severely impact communities of color and/or with lower incomes and don't significantly promote the timely return of library materials. And you can learn more at wccls.org/fine-free. And at this point, if anybody has any questions about anything that I just listed or anything else city related, I'm happy to take that. I will note for folks in the audience, we've got 5 folks here from the community. If you would like to ask a question, you can use the raise hand feature and I can go ahead and unmute you. Otherwise, you can use the Q&A function and we can participate in answering those questions that way as well. So does anybody from the board have any questions on anything that I mentioned?
Man. Yeah, why does Zoom suck?
That's a good question.
That is not a question that I can answer, unfortunately.
Jesus, man, this is not good. Oh, man. I can't even get in my own goddamn meeting.
You're in the meeting, Carl. All right, well, if nobody from the audience has any questions, I will defer to the next folk giving an update. And I'll go ahead and put those links in the chat for everybody.
What's the problem, Carl?
Carl's video feed isn't working. There's something with an update and it's just not connecting to the video there.
Man, what the fuck is going on? Oh, sorry. I forgot I'm still on microphone.
Yes, your microphone, Carl.
Sorry.
Jeez.
Sorry. I apologize to everyone.
And people are watching this tomorrow.
You're being recorded.
All I can think of to do is try rebooting it. I have no idea what's going on.
Well, Carl, the next item on the agenda is the Beaverton Police Report. Would you like Officer Cline to move forward with that?
Sure. That'd be
Okay.
great.
All right, Officer Cline, you're on.
You're up to bat.
Okay. Thanks for having me. I'm filling in for Officer Michelle Wilson. She's actually teaching classes tonight, but told me you guys are awesome and put me in charge of delivering. The only crime that occurred this month is we have one theft in the area. I've spoke on several NACs and I actually live in the Highland neighborhood and it looks like West Slope's doing pretty good on crime statistics. So that's really good news. And it sounds like it's down from last year. So that's just kind of a quick update on that. So far, we've been doing really well about responding with the snow and having all the inclement weather issues. Nothing too exciting, but we have had a lot of down power line calls that officers are responding to just secure the scene to make sure no one was injured by those. And so far, that's been successful. And I think we've made it through the worst of it. So that's kind of everything I had in a nutshell, unless there's any questions.
No, I think a lot of the crime information that I hear about is from next door where, a lot of car break-ins and
Oh yeah.
especially the apartment complexes, they seem to be, I guess because their cars are generally outside and they seem to be quite a regular occurrence for those folks.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's citywide.
Oh yeah, yes. And I'll also mention in another NAC, with tax season coming up, it's really important for folks to make sure they secure their documents. Unfortunately, we're not having shred events, but make sure that they're destroyed appropriately and collecting your mail in a timely fashion, because we do have a lot of folks that are still stealing mail out of mailboxes.
Always something to think about.
Yeah.
And does anyone have any questions for Officer Cline? Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks for having me.
In. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you're welcome to go about your business or to hang in here on
Great.
Whatever.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Well, Carl, shall I keep going? to our third item on the agenda, Tualatin Hills Parks and Rec report by Troy Schrader.
Good evening. Yep, I'm Troy Schader, your Tualatin Hills Park and Rec representative for the West Slope NAC. Good seeing everybody. A couple updates for you. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Washington County actually we have progressed from the extreme risk category to the high risk category. And what that means for Tualatin Hills Park and Rec is that we're now able to start opening some of our facilities. So a couple facilities that we have opening here, we're opening up Conestoga Rec and Aquatic Center. We're opening up Cedar Hills Rec. We're opening up the Babette Hornstein Tennis Center.
Oh, you are?
And we're also opening the Tualatin Hills Athletics Center. So that's exciting news for us and our patrons. We're also, I need to update you on some of our centers that are not going to be opening. And these will not be opening until at least June 30th. So the LC Stir Center will remain closed. Garden Home Rec, Aloha Swim Center, Beaverton Swim Center, Harmon Swim Center, and the Sunset Swim Center will all be closed until at least June 30th. Let's see here. We've got summer camps are getting close. So we are offering summer camps this year, and the registration for those opens up May 1st. So all the camps and classes will be on the website by April 12th. So keep your eye on that if that's something that you're interested in doing. Let's see here. We've got our board of directors elections coming up soon. So if that's something that you're interested in doing, check the website and just know that that's on the horizon. And I'm not sure how many spots we're actually filling this time around, but we do have some vacancies. So we also are looking to, there's a budget committee opening as well. So if that's a way that you want to participate, check the website for that as well. Looks like the application deadline on that is going to be February 26th. We're still offering fitness in the park. So that seems to be a popular thing right now. Gets people outside moving around. Check the website for our schedule there and what sites it's offered at. Another event we're hosting is a Walk With Me event at Commonwealth Park on March 16th. It's about a 2-mile loop around the park. Gathering it adheres to state guidelines and requirements. Masks are required, but a lot of these types of opportunities are coming up. So again, I just always want to refer everyone to the website to stay most up to date on what we're offering. But yeah, we're starting to get back in the mix and getting more people into our facilities. So that's exciting for us. But does anyone have any questions for me?
So what are the requirements when you go into these facilities, like the tennis center, for example?
I'm sure they're similar to any of the indoor openings now, whether it be restaurants or anything else. The masks are going to be required, 6 feet distancing. All the protocols are going to be in place. I don't want to speak specifically to each individual facility because I don't know for sure, but yeah, expect all the COVID protocols to be in place when you want to go there.
And again, let me ask a question. This is again on Nextdoor.
Yep.
Somebody is claiming that the LC Stir Center is going to be, in a couple of years, plowed down and turned into housing. Have you heard that rumor?
I have not.
They're talking about the community center, how that is being retrofitted.
Well, I mean, I know we just redid that building not that long ago. So I don't want to speak either way on that. It'd be, in my opinion, it'd be highly unlikely that would occur.
Kind of what I thought, but you never know what you hear on next door. It's anyway, it's kind
Yeah.
of crazy.
Anything else? All right.
Anybody else? No?
Mhm.
Thanks.
Well, thanks for having me. Have a good night.
You too.
So Carl, are you on?
Speak up, Carl. You're muted.
Oh, how about now?
Now you're
That
good.
works.
Am I loud enough now?
You're loud enough.
Can you see me? Do you like the Rolling Stones?
Pretty good.
All right.
They might last a few years.
Last few years.
All right. How'd you guys make out during the snowstorm? Any improvements that we could talk about with the city? No? Everything was perfect?
Uh,
No, it wasn't perfect, but you can't blame the city for it.
I think the main thing is making sure Canyon Lane gets a little help, because that can be a real mess, given the fact that there's hills and curves and stop signs and
Hey, at least we still don't have speed bumps, which people would engage coming up the hill with 3 inches of snow on the ground, which wouldn't have been cool. Let's put it that way. You're going uphill and you lose traction because you have to slow down for a bump, and you're going to lose your momentum and you're not going to make it. My wife barely made it getting out of our street today, just getting on her way down to Wilsonville, where, things are cool and flat, instead of where we live in West Slope. All right. So, what was, oh yeah. So we're trying to get something on the city list to get some piping put in up here right around 75th and up and down Canyon Lane a little bit. And all the neighbors are hip. They've already signed on for access, and easement is the key word. But the city is still in the designing process. So there was this guy we were hoping to have on tonight, but he's going to show up next month. Very nice person. But he's just they are still very much in the planning phases of this project. But it does affect 11 houses in and around 75th Avenue and Canyon Lane, which is approximately the same amount of houses that are being affected by the now abandoned Portland Public Schools athletic field project, which is not going to come up until next summer when everything melts, and then we have a chance to straighten things out. But it is the same constituency. So this, if we need the help from this group, would everybody be happy? Would everybody be cool about saying the West Slope NAC supports this project and we would like it? I'll make it more specific. I'll try to make it quick. There's 2 houses at the end of my street, 75th Avenue, and there's a house up the street, and it also abuts the THPRD property that we've been talking about for many, many years. The water rolls off that property and goes right into this guy's property, and both the properties across the street develop a lake. Seriously, in front of their house and in the back of their house. And we've been, trying for years to find a way to get that water out of there. And, but the city has been reluctant to dive in, sorry for the pun, to get involved and get their feet wet, to get the water out of that area because they consider our street not part of the city, even though we pay taxes like everybody else for city of Beaverton and the city of Portland. You know, speaking of Portland Public Schools, et cetera, et cetera. Just to get some, you know, a little bit of work done. They did some work about 10 years ago, or I think it was a little more. They tore up the middle of Canyon Lane, if you recall, and installed a whole new sewer system. So we're just talking about tying into that existing system. And the one guy that's doing the lead work is a very nice man, or Eduardo. He's gone door to door so far, and all the neighbors up and down the street, both directions, have said, yeah, no problem. Let's do that. If we have to tear up our front yard to drop in a new pipe, we will do that in order to take care of our neighbors. You know, you can't quote this in court. I'm just telling you what I've, my information. But yeah, everyone's on board for this particular project, which is the same size project as the athletic field over at the middle school. As that's why Chris and Dieter are here tonight, of course. But I've also been in touch with the school. I was hoping to get I've been trying to get a hold of the principal for 3 months now, and
Yep.
they will not respond or come visit us at this virtual meeting, unfortunately, because, you know, they're busy with other things with the Portland Public Schools. It would be nice if they did, just to let us, you know, give us an update at the very least. You know, what's going on? Are they going to try to have kids come out and play when they've all got their vaccinations this spring or this summer? Does that mean it's okay for all the teams to start playing out on the field? I would like to hear that. And it doesn't, yeah, and just for the principal to say, what does she want as far as, you know, the kids and the teachers? I mean, I know the teachers want all their vaccinations for sure before they wander. I'm sorry, Kent, can you help me with that?
What about, yeah, we teachers are prioritized. That's true. I've got my shots. So
Both of them?
Saturday's my second shot.
Yeah, but before you go back and teach inside a building, would you want everybody else, all the other teachers to be?
Yeah, our associations.
Well, right?
Yeah. Yeah, most of the teacher associations are saying they're not going to go back unless they get their vaccination. So we're getting it. Most teachers will have been vaccinated by the time we formally go back to school. Elementary teachers, maybe not as much, but they got prioritized. So maybe most of them will have their vaccination.
So, yeah. So for instance, the primary teachers are the ones that need it, you know, the ones that are most directly in contact with all the kids, right?
Well, yeah, they're more important.
Well, you know, so, you know, if like we were talking about the athletic fields, coaches and the kids playing at, you know, games, you know, whatever team you're talking about, we're talking about, you know, softball, baseball, football, all on that field, they are going to be lower priority than the teachers that are actually in school. Would you agree?
I would agree.
Okay. So the athletic field is kind of low priority for now because I don't know what they're going to do and whether they have the funding to do it, as we've spoken before, is kind of a interesting point. All right. So moving on, yeah, like I said, so the piping project in and around 75th and Canyon Lane is going to be very important. And in order to get that done, they're going to need to know that the West Slope NAC is behind it. They want it done to help out our neighbors and to help the drainage off of the THPRD property in order to make that eventually, it's only been 10 years, to make that eventually a park of some sort.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we're dealing in the short term right now.
Yes.
And so if we agree, and this is all on line, wait a minute. 1, 2.
He's looking for a quorum.
Yeah,
Can
we got
I-
quorum. Totally got quorum. Okay. So would you fellow members of the West Slope NAC approve of approving that? Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I'm really losing it right now. Would you approve of a capital improvement addition to the capital improvement plan as proposed by the city of Beaverton to kick out some money in order to get this project done for our neighbors here in our neighborhood?
Can we discuss this first?
Okay, go ahead.
And really quick, we've got somebody in the audience who would like to ask a question or make a comment. So Joe, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk. So feel free to unmute yourself and ask your question or make your comment.
I just wanted to let folks know that I'm here. I don't seem to have video, but I am a board member and I am present.
Let me go ahead and promote you to panelist.
Oh, yeah. He needs a promotion,
Wow, everybody's here.
except people that aren't on the board.
Did not
There's one of the attendees too,
There he
who
is.
said he's,
category.
one of the attendees said he's impacted by the flood problems and would like to speak to Jerry Ramsden, I think.
All right, I will defer to Carl. We can definitely make time to talk about that. And Jerry, I see your comment, and we will definitely make sure that that's addressed at this meeting tonight.
Okay, yeah. What was your question, Joe?
I just wanted to let you folks know that I was here.
All right.
How many folks are what?
Let us know that he's here.
Man, I can't hear you guys. Joe, what is your question?
I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to have my presence noted.
Hey, yeah, great.
And I didn't know if there was some special category here or something. Apparently there is, but
No. Of course, it's great to see you, Joe. Thanks for showing up, man.
thank you. Yeah, I just had my shoulder replaced about a week and a half ago, so I'm kind of in a convalescence mode.
Oh, you can handle it, man. You're a big dude.
Well, I have a
We
question.
already had a question. Let's go.
Well, will Mr. Roman from the city be coming next month to talk about this project? I'm still unclear what the project is and what you're asking us to do.
Basically, if the lead guy that's going door to door and asking people about if they want this project in their backyard or their front yard, it is a pipe coming down from the garden property of all places. And it's
Okay,
gonna
I
come
get
down
that.
alongside 4 adjoining properties, or more like 6, that it'll have to go through their backyard and get the water that's been pooling for many years and get it to the creek that runs behind my house, that actually goes in underneath Highway 26 over to Gulf Creek, which is
Okay,
a major tributary. But the creek that goes along 75th has no name. It's just No Name Creek. But anyway, all this water runs down directly from that nursery project, which has been sitting there for, the THPRD's guy is gone now. Yeah, it's been sitting there for 10 years since they bought the property. And it just all the water pools into these people's backyards and front yards. We get a lake on 75th Avenue at least 3 or 4 times a year, if more. And
okay. So
my
this,
other buddy, Chris, I was hoping he would show up tonight. He lives right down there, and it turns into a virtual 3-inch deep lake in his backyard. So our problem is people on 75th, before I moved in here almost 20 years ago, they seceded from Beaverton just for this one street. And so,
well, your street is
therefore, there is no
unimproved. Your
city
street is a
maintenance.
gravel street. It's not
It
improved.
used to be a gravel street. You could pull off of 26 and head on down.
Right,
And-
so it's not built to city standard.
But the city has now agreed that they will take care of that situation because it affects so many houses. There's 5 more houses that are right on Canyon Lane. And they've been, the situation is, the guy that's doing the lead for the engineering section of the city of Beaverton, he's been going door to door, and people have all agreed to ease their easement. And so they can actually do the work that they need to do and install pipe in order to drain better and get it over to the creek.
Okay,
Avoid every-
so that's the project. So what is the NAC's role in this? Why do we need to even,
Because it's right in the heart of our NAC, and the people,
I mean, we don't approve engineering projects elsewhere in the NAC. I guess
we
that's
say
my,
we'd really like to see this get done, get on the capital improvement list, if I'm not mistaken.
so it's all about the capital improvement program.
Well, that's how it gets paid for, correct?
That's one way.
Well, what's the other?
Local improvement district.
And that would be,
That's where the landowners have to pay a part of it. I
and
mean,
that
that's another.
convincing 11 landowners to get the same thing done.
Well, that's oftentimes if you have a road that's unimproved and you want an improvement, you have to contribute to that. But if the capital improvement program is going to cover it, then that's better for you guys.
So
Well,
I'm going to unmute.
No, hey, wait a minute.
I'm going to unmute Jerry Ramsden
Oh.
really quick. I misunderstood his question / comment earlier. It sounds like he's actually one of the property owners that's impacted by the flooding and wants to contribute to this conversation.
Okay, that'd be good.
Hello,
And-
hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
This is Jerry. Okay, thank you. I'll try to keep this brief. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. We moved into this house in 2001, and in 2005, the city used their new paving equipment to pave our street. And what happened at that point was the creek that runs between my yard and my neighbor's yard used to flow across the street, but when the city paved the street, they super elevated the crest of the street
By accident.
about 2 to 3 inches above my garage level. And so now my garage is permanently sandbagged and has been for years because the water ponds on that street crest and completely fills the whole yard between the two of us. And if I don't have sandbags and pumps going, my basement is 2.5 feet below my garage, takes on 2.5 feet of water. And so in 2005, when we had that huge rain event that went on for a week, or 2015, we got literally within 15 minutes, the water came in and filled my whole basement. And of course, you know, I didn't think I was in a flood zone, and I wasn't until the city super elevated the street. So it was an uninsured loss. We had to completely gut our entire basement. And for the last 5 years, I've been trying to work with the city to get this storm drainage input. The other key note here is the city in 2005 was planning to put this drain project in, and there was some opposition and whatever, so they kind of tabled it at that point. And so once I started getting flooded quite severely, I brought it back up with the city, and they very slowly tried to start kind of dusting that off and looking at doing it. So it's not something the city would never intend to do, because they had planned to do it 10-15 years ago, literally. So and it is really causing me a tremendous amount of grief on my property. So, and you know, 3 weeks ago, Chris Rice, that Carl mentioned, lives across the street from me. And 3 weeks ago, you probably all remember when the power went out in the middle of that horrendous rainstorm at 2 a.m. Well, Chris and Rice and I were out putting bricks and sandbags and stuff across his driveway to keep him from getting flooded, because the water was all ponded up and just flowing right across the top of 75th Avenue. So I am very keen on this project, and I've already submitted almost a year ago a capital improvement plan request to the city, which kind of got them going with all this effort that Eduardo's going to talk about. So it's a situation that is drastically impacting us along 75th Avenue, and we'd really appreciate the West Sylvan Neighborhood Association's support on this. And I'm willing to answer any questions. I know all the history, but I just want to kind of keep it short. I don't want to take up too much time.
Right on, brother.
Thanks.
Well,
That's
what
some
I'm
good
talking
background.
about. I want the West Slope NAC to get behind and help accelerate the funding and for this project. It's obviously been in the city's scope for a while, because we know that they sent out their representative to goes door to door, and now it goes to the engineer, and then it goes to the city for funding. And if I thought maybe the West Slope NAC could say, we would appreciate if you could accelerate this project and help out our neighbors, as you just heard. And that was my intent.
What do you think would be the best way to do that? I mean, would that be a letter, or would it be testimony at the, I mean, do they have like a public forum when they pick these projects, or how would we communicate our support and have it most effective?
Okay, well, the guy that, like I said, the guy that's doing the lead work for them, Eduardo, very nice person, like I said before, he's going to be at our next meeting with a report. And therefore, I think at that point, with him on the line, you know, doing this group meeting, that'd be the best time to say, hey, yeah, we're all on board, and like do a, you know, the group thing, and we all approve, you know, I or nay. And if he got all ayes from the neighborhood, might help accelerate things a bit, because it's been a while.
Franziska, do you know, is there a public forum when the capital improvement project list is compiled? Do they have a public meeting where people can speak in favor of specific projects? Do you know of that?
I am not aware of anything along those lines, but I can certainly inquire as to, you know, what the process is for public input on the CIP project list year over year.
Yeah, I guess that would be my question. What is the protocol on getting the approval and to go ahead and actually doing the project?
Oh, well, that's the problem, is we thought this was gonna be going forth, Jerry and I, because they have a lead guy out already, that it would be, his report would be turned into the engineer in the near future. But when I talked to him on the phone this morning, he's like, yeah, that's 3 to 5 years out.
3 to 5 years?
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
It might rain again between this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly, man. I mean, because Jerry's already had 3 lakes this winter. I mean, how many more lakes does he need?
Jerry, you said that you put in this proposal last year officially.
Yeah, I submitted a very detailed capital improvement project request with the city just about a year ago. You know, just a couple other notes. I know there was some question about, you know, this is a private street and would the city even do that on a private street? But Carl made a, you know, and I noticed it after he mentioned it, that every house in this neighborhood pays $11 a month to the city of Beaverton for stormwater improvement. So, you know, I don't know how long they've been collecting that money, but, you know, across 11 or however many houses over years and years, that's added up to a chunk of change. So it seems like they could find some money and move this along. I mean, I literally, when it rains, once the ground gets saturated, if we have a ½ inch of rain, that whole yard fills up, and I am constantly pumping water out of my basement to keep it from flooding. So it's just an ongoing grief for me. I think I'm the only one constantly pumping, but you know, when it ponds up, it literally half of the street's covered by water because it's right up to the crust of the street. So I hope we don't have water like that when we get a freeze, because the whole street will be an ice skating rink, but that hasn't happened yet.
So Carl, the project engineer is supposed to be attending the next meeting?
Yes, well, no, it's not going to be the engineer. It's just going to be the dude that's doing all the research to turn over to the project engineer.
Okay, it seems to me that would be the most appropriate time to, after we listen to his report and the result of his research, would be the most appropriate time to
Well,
make
he said he would give us his full report next month.
And Jerry, I hope you can attend next month as well.
I definitely will attend. And I've been working with the city, you know, when I sent the capital improvement request forward and they said, okay, we'll start looking at this. I said, you know, whatever I can do to help. And they said, because there was so much opposition to it in 2005, we'd like you to approach the neighbors. And so I did all the groundwork, briefing and kind of communicating and getting all the neighbors briefed and on board. And so I've been very, you know, like way up to the top of my hip waders in this, and I'll do whatever it takes to help out. I am probably the biggest proponent of the project for obvious reasons, but you know, one thing I've noticed is once the street got paved or like super elevated with the pavement and started ponding, it wasn't bad back in 2005, but I think once the ponding started, all the fines that come off the stormwater are like infiltrating into the bed here. And the permeability of the soil has just seemed to gotten worse and worse every year. And so now it's literally a half inch of rain will fill the yard up, whereas before it took like, you know, a 10 or 20 or 50-year event. And so now I'm just like, my pumps are running right now. I'm constantly churning water back, you know, and it's just an ongoing thing. But, and 2 years ago, I dug up all the piping, dropped 2 trees because I thought that there were pine trees that were right over the line, the main line that took the kind of historic storm drain under the street. So I, you know, checked with the city, we dropped those trees. I rented a backhoe, I redid all the piping, and I stuck the new, you know, green 6-inch line into the pipe that went under the street. But the old piping that went under the street were those 1 foot long concrete field tiles, if you know what I'm talking about. They're like, so there's no joint, there's no like ball socket between the pipes. And so, you know, soil and roots and everything can go right through. Well, that's the kind of pipe that went under the street, and I think it's failed. So there's no way for me to get the water across the street. So anyway, I've literally spent $30,000 of my own money to try to do everything I can to get this thing solved. And at this point, there's nothing else I can do out of my own pocket, legally, anything. And so, yeah, when I got flooded in 2015, I sent the city a letter from a lawyer and said, hey, you guys super elevated the street and caused all this damage. Well, this is Murphy's Law on steroids. The city had their insurance company mail me back, and they said, we're looking into it. And I thought, oh, okay, that's encouraging. Well, the very next letter they sent me said, oh, by the way, the city paved that street in the summer of 2005. You got flooded in December of 2015, and there's a 10-year statute of limitations. So anyway, so I don't want to take up too much time, but
That's all right.
it's just gone on and on and on. And so
Well,
I'm hoping we're not 3 to 5 years out, because I may be buying another dozen or more pumps by then. But
yeah, so I think addressing it next month. And my observation is that the city has in the past responded actually fairly quickly to some of these drainage issues.
you know, I know
So
up on
hopefully we can get to the right people and have that happen.
I know there's that road that kind of comes off a Pointer Road and does like an L shape. There was a drainage job that went in there not too long ago. So yeah, I see the city putting in a lot of drainage work. I'm just hoping this one isn't going to take that long.
So you guys know my favorite story about why 75th Avenue, a private drive, is paved, right?
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a dirt road.
Well, yeah, so it's interesting because the city.
No, Jerry, let me finish my story.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It was a dirt road. You could pull off a 26. And I could drive right into my driveway. No problem. One day, the city shows up with a huge crew and a huge unit, and they paved the whole thing over all the dirt. Whereas I'd been in touch with some of my neighbors at the time to pull up some money in order to get some asphalt down there. But all of a sudden the city shows up. It was 2 days before Christmas, and it was the best Christmas present ever. The whole crew's coming up the street, and they paved the whole thing. And then I found out 2 years later that it was supposed to be 78th Avenue, not 75th. They blew it. That's serious.
Is it still a private drive?
So that's what Jerry's Ramsden's talking about.
Yeah, it is still a private drive.
Jerry Denton would have
That-
liked it
that-
to 78.
So Terry, would that have a difference?
That's,
in
that's
his
where they blew it.
responsibility?
They didn't level it out, and that's why the water's causing all kinds of problems for the properties on both sides of where.
Carl, you muted yourself.
No, he just cut out.
Oh,
So Terry, is this a private street? I would guess that would be a different status.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what would it take for it to become a public street? Is that the first step they need to do, actually?
I would ask the, maybe Mr. Roman next week or next month.
Yeah, there sounds like a lot of issues that need to be answered here still, so maybe we could move on.
You know, along those lines, I just had a thought that, you know, all these plans sound great. It'd be great to talk to this individual next week or next month, but usually the higher up you go, the clearer the answers are going to be. So can we get someone from a little bit higher up in the stormwater management department to come in and actually talk about some of these issues? Like, okay, what are the criteria for actually having a project like this? You know, what needs to get done? How do you get there step by step? Because a lot of times the lower level folks, they'll know the engineering and the specifics, but they won't know the policy issues and things like that. So I'm thinking that for two reasons. Number one, just because we'll tend to get a little bit clearer answers. They'll also be more aware of the problem, whereas maybe they're not now. And last but not least, there's other streets and areas that are having drainage issues within the NAC. And like right along my street, we get water in our basements off the athletic field every time it rains. So I think there's folks in the NAC who might be interested as well to talk to this sort of higher level person, just in general terms about, okay, what kinds of things can we get funded and what can we not? Like what's the universe of possibilities? So all I'm suggesting is that maybe we, in addition to whoever's coming next month, ask for someone higher up in the food chain to come and talk to us as well.
Well, Carl, either Miles or myself would be happy to work with you to, get whoever is needed on the agenda from an internal staffing standpoint. So you can, I can send the emails and figure out who that person would be. You can just let us know how we can help. I think your microphone may have cut out. Because you're not muted, but we can't hear you.
And I'll fill the void before Carl kicks in. At one point, we actually had the Public Works Director attend our NAC meeting. So, I mean, that was back in the old days, but maybe it's possible again.
I assume we have a new Public Works Director hired and in place.
Yep, we do.
Good. Yeah, they would probably be good.
Do you mean David? Are you talking about David Winship? Or are you talking? Sorry, maybe I misunderstood what you said. Are you saying you would like the Public Works Director to see if they might be able to come?
That would be super.
Yeah, I can send an email and see what we can do.
Carl still, he's asking for help. It's kind of nice not having him talk though, isn't it? Yeah.
Jerry Ramsden, I see that you may have started a question to Chris. Didn't know if you...
if you can still hear me. Yeah, Chris, I just wanted to, say I wholeheartedly agree with your comment, and it'd be great to get somebody from the engineering department. But one person I've been working with on this a long time is Mark Bogoslawski.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows all the history. He was kind of the champion of the original version of this back in 2005. And he was the first person I called after I got slammed by the flood in 2015. And he was the guy I reached out to last year when all my efforts kind of came to nil on trying to get the water to cross the street. So he's very well kind of versed on all the history, but I don't know if he's the one to speak on, getting things across the finish line, which I think would be quite valuable for my problem and the things you guys are grappling with from the Wccls Middle School.
I do know Mark Boguslawski, and we'll work to figure out who is going to be the best person to address this issue for the NAC.
Okay.
That would be great. In the interim, I have at least one comment. I know a couple of meetings ago, we were talking about the library services, and one of the participants had said that that was their understanding that they had stopped the drive-by pickup at the Beaverton City Library, and I'm happy to report that that is untrue. They are doing that. You can make reservations, drive right up, and pick your books up, and it works great. So for folks that want to do that, that is definitely still available.
But you have to get out of the car, though.
Pardon?
You have to get out of the car, though.
You do not.
Nope. They'll leave in.
If you can open your tailgate from inside the car, you can do that.
I haven't seen that.
Or you can hop out and open it up for them. They'll just bring them out and pop them in. So
I was just there 5 hours ago. Really? So why would you not just go to the door and get everything?
because it's more convenient just driving by, and they bring them out to the car and put them in and you drive off. You still have to drive by the other side of the building to return your books in the slot there.
Oh, you're talking on another side of the building?
On the east side of the building is where you return the books, and on the west side of the building is where you pick up your books on Hall Street.
No, you pick them up on Fifth Avenue, on Fifth.
No, you pick them up on Hall.
Well, not when I pick mine up, I go right to the walk-in.
Well, if you want to do the walk-in, you can do that. If you want to drive up, which can, listen carefully. I'm saying if you want to do the drive up, you drive up to the tables on Hall Street, you give them a call, they bring the books out, put them in your car, and you drive off.
I'm not
If
done.
you want to walk up, you can do it in the south side of the library. And to return the books, they have a return slot
on the side.
on the east side of the library.
Yeah,
And
they've
they're
always
right
had
around thing.
Yeah.
And the library is open now. You can actually
Good.
enter and browse.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say as well. I'll put the BCL to go website in the chat. For the book pickup, you just need to make an appointment.
Yeah.
But for the BCL to go, you don't need to make an appointment. I mean, if you just want to walk up, you don't need to make an appointment.
No, so there's three different ways that you can get
Yeah.
books. You can do the make an appointment and drive up in your car, and they'll put them in your car, or you can do the walk up, which doesn't require an appointment, or you can physically go to the library and retrieve your books and check them out.
Yeah. Except on Thursdays. You can't do BCL.
Don't go Thursday.
Yeah.
So Carl's not on yet. Why don't I jump in and do BCCI real quick?
That's what Carl
Good
would say.
idea.
That's what Carl would say.
I'll just give a brief, our last meeting was January 25th. And we got to meet our new liaison, who is Allison Tivnon, who is one of the new city council members. And let me just say, she is very bullish on neighborhoods. So if you have a neighborhood issue and you want a city council person who's particularly attuned to NACs, contact Allison Tivnon.
Why don't we have her come to our meeting?
Pardon?
Why don't we just have her come to a meeting?
Well, city council meets on Tuesday evenings. So that was actually one of the things when Carl is able to use his microphone again, he wanted to discuss so that, there could be opportunities for city councilors to attend meetings in the future. But so long as they're on Tuesdays, unfortunately.
But we've always had city council meetings with those people in here. Oh, they've all come to our meetings. Everybody in the city council.
Yeah.
I think they've come when there's been elections, but.
Yeah. Something we might think about is perhaps
Mark said.
having a meeting our meeting on a different night when we specifically want to have input from any of the city council or mayor or whoever.
But what have we done before though? Because we've had Mark Sansucci, Mark Fagan. We've had them all come to our NAC.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure they skipped the council meeting. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but yes, they have attended meetings in the past. It's been a while though. Actually, it's been several years.
Yeah,
Down at the fire station, we had Mark
Fagan
Fagan. Yeah.
came and talked about water. And then another thing I'll mention, we're as you heard, we're going to have an election for the Tualatin Hills Parks and Rec board members. And then there's also going to be a special election for a city council seat that has been vacated by Lacey Beatty, who became mayor. So her seat is open. And so we will be holding a spring voters forum, which will be again virtual. But I don't know if any of you have attended any of ours via Zoom in the past, but they are moderated by Eric Schmidt, who was a professional news correspondent back in the days. And he's a very good speaker and very good moderator.
Mhm.
So they've always been very good. And this one for the May 18th primary vote, the voters forum virtually, Zoom call, will be held April 29th. So I really encourage our NAC members, we're always interested in questions for the candidates. So that's something that if you have a specific interest in city council issues, policies, and or THPRD, Tualatin Hills Parks and Rec issues and policies, and have questions for candidates, please submit them to Franziska, and she'll make sure that they get to the right place at the right time.
Well, there will actually be a place to submit the questions online.
Yeah, there you go.
I will admit I have not quite yet gotten around to updating the Voters Forum website since it's still over 2 months away. But as soon as it is updated, there will be a button that you can go to submit your questions. So the website, just for it's not going to change, is beavertonoregon.gov/voters forum. But it will sometime this week have all of the up-to-date information for the Spring Voters Forum.
Good, thanks. And I'm still thinking of working on a shred event for the matching grant. I haven't moved forward with that, but I'm still thinking of that for maybe this fall.
We already talked about that, Carl. You told me about that earlier.
Well, Carl had discussed with me changing like the regular night. Yeah, Monday or Thursday. At first it was suggested Wednesday, but then our dear Terry Lawler is on planning commission, so that wouldn't work. So, if you wanted to switch it to a Monday night or the third Monday or the third Thursday night, that can definitely happen. So I will defer to the board on that discussion. Sorry, you're still having issues, Carl.
We've got to change our signage. All our boards have to be changed.
We could certainly make sure that happens. So that's entirely up to the board, and we have the resources to support you in that.
And perhaps so that's something that could be put on the agenda for next month.
Yeah.
All right. So these boards and nothing's really paying off. I put up the board. Nobody seems to come to the meetings. So I'm pretty discouraged. Why can't we get more people? I mean, can the city of Beaverton advertise more? Or?
Well, you do have 4 folks here tonight, so I would suggest celebrating the folks that are here. And I might also say that if you don't have anything else on the agenda to discuss, that I'll give them the opportunity to chat and just say hi and express their interest in neighborhood issues. So if this is a good time to do that, I'm happy to make that happen.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, great.
I'll agree.
Well, I'll go ahead and bring everybody into the meeting.
Oh.
All right, Chris and Annalicia, you are welcome to talk and say hi and let us know, yeah, anything you want us to know.
Hello, Annalicia here. I'm just attending because as a renter, well, and I was here the last 2 meetings, but as a renter, you know, renters aren't supported in going to these sorts of things. We move frequently. This is not the sort of a thing that we could run for a position. Landlords price us out. So, you know, it's pretty common that we have to move every year. So renters are generally not part of neighborhood associations because of those reasons, not because of a lack of interest. And so, you know, I think renters' rights and things that affect renters are commonly not talked about in neighborhood associations. So I am here representing that. I didn't bring anything specifically to talk about today, though.
I have a question for you, Annalicia.
Yes.
What about the snowflake contest?
I know. I am so sorry. So Miles and I had a miscommunication, but we have fixed that miscommunication, and we're pivoting to a flower contest instead. I had everything set up, but basically the snowflake contest would have happened like this week or next week, without any time for advertising. But like I said, Miles and I fixed the problem we were having. I was just, you know, I didn't want to start advertising until all the stuff was set for the city to pay for the gift cards. So, but that is fixed. And I updated all of the advertising and switched to just having people decorate their windows with flowers. And honestly, I think that might be a little more colorful anyways.
Yeah, the snowflakes came.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought of you. Snowflakes were falling.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm actually really excited. I posted it to the so I've already started posting places. I emailed the couple of people who had said they were interested in helping promote. I already emailed the library, and it's up on the West Slope Facebook page. So whomever is actually in charge of that Facebook page, if they would post it instead, I think that might get more views rather than like a guest person posting on the West Slope page. If the West Slope page itself posts, it gets promoted in a different way. But yeah, tell all your friends and neighbors and decorate your windows. There are gift cards, prizes for incentivizing.
I have admin access to that Facebook page, so I'll go ahead and post that as the NAC itself.
Cool. Oh, and I also posted on Nextdoor and the West Slope Buy Nothing groups. So if you are on either of those platforms, if you would like my post, that would increase the like it or interact with it, like add a question or be like, yeah, this is great. Any sort of interaction helps the algorithms as far as then it reaches more people. So if you're on Nextdoor or Buy Nothing, if you would interact with that, that would be great. Other than that, my plan was just to print off. I have a smaller advertisement and I was just going to print off a bunch, and as I walk my dog, just tape them onto people's doors. So I probably won't cover the entire neighborhood that way myself, but I'll at least get my immediate people, and I'm walking my dog anyways, and that's kind of, I'm willing to do that. So if you have any neighbors that you want to just tell, great. If you feel like doing that, like printing off just a few and taping them to like the 20 neighbors around your house, great. But if you do feel like doing that, maybe let me know so I don't accidentally duplicate your efforts.
Fantastic. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you. And thanks to the city for the support.
Cool, Chris here as well. Just wanted to say it's great to be part of the neighborhood. We've been here since 2000. Just here to help Carl's and Jerry's initiatives. As Jerry alluded to, we do get water flow across the road, and the duck pond, as our kids love to call it, in the backyard, where the water eventually pools. It used to get about 4 feet deep, and Actually, our son, he loved it for swimming. It was really nice, and in there with the mallards, it was very nice. So, but he's now 17, so yeah.
The
And
novelty is worn off, I'm gonna assume.
well, it's, I don't know, it's perhaps for them, they're onto their phones more than looking out the backyard. But just appreciate being part of the neighborhood, and great to be part of the group here.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully we can get a resolution to your issue.
Well, thanks for all your efforts.
And that you'll join us next meeting.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. This is Jerry for your time and your patience and kind of hearing the backstory. There was a lot of history there, so and we'll definitely see you next month. And glad to join the meeting here.
So I have a couple of other updates. I'm happy to say thank you to all because I've gotten my second COVID vaccination on Monday, since I'm old disabled veteran. And we also signed up for the Ridwell. And so they're doing this is the folks that are picking up the recyclables that are not recyclable through the city, garbage pickup. So we're having our first pickup on Thursday. So we'll let you know how that goes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good for you.
That didn't sound good. Was that Carl exploding or something?
Carl's dropped off the video as well. So I guess anyone else have anything?
I'll get a question. What are they doing over there by the library? What is that construction they're doing over there?
So I can tell you all
which
about it,
library?
actually. I helped
The
support
Beaverton
that
Library.
project. Yeah, so the library fountain is undergoing improvements. So it's both for operations, but in the process, they're adding some new features. So there will now be lights and sound, and it'll be very Bellagio-esque in terms of the functionality of the fountain. But it's mainly to move. So up until this point, the operations for the fountain have been underground. And that is actually requiring excessive resources and staff time to maintain it. It's also, I think, about 10 years old. So they're moving, they're creating a pump house above ground to be able to manage the fountain and do repairs, and it will actually be a lot more cost effective in the long run.
But will it be fancier and bigger?
The fountain will be fancier. Yes, you can definitely expect a fancier fountain out of this. So they were like, we've got to make all of these operational improvements to the fountain. So in the process, they're going to add a few more bells and whistles.
Looks like they took out the ping pong tables too.
The ping pong tables? Yeah, I can't remember how the whole configuration will pan out. There will be a new small building that will be the pump house. But yeah, so that
they are placing that where the current swing sets are.
Right. Yes, they're
So
moving
that's
that.
being moved. That's why the whole area is being fenced off, is there's going to be more things moving around.
Right. Yeah, so the blue fencing will stay up through the summer. So they have to keep the whole area cordoned off, but then there will be an unveiling and a celebration of it in the summertime. So that is TBD at the moment, but that's what that construction is all about. I'll put in the chat the webpage for that project, and you can learn all about it.
Cool.
Yeah, the last update I got from the West Slope Library is sounds like the remodel is going to go into March, if not into April.
Oh, really? Oh.
Hey, can you hear me?
I
Fine.
can hear you, Carl. You're back.
Oh, I had to reboot. All right. So yes, changing the meeting. Terry has to go to the planning commission on Wednesday nights. So if we're gonna change, it's gotta go Tuesday or Thursday.
Well, it's already on a Tuesday, so it's got to be a Monday or Thursday.
Excuse me, Monday or Thursday, because, yeah, it's like, because we meet on the same night as the city council, and the mayor has to be with the city council as part of the city council, we can never talk to them. But if we change to a different night, we could have actual conversations with our new mayor, newly elected mayor, and the rest of the city council, which would be kind of cool, which would, lend us a little more weight as far when it comes to requesting work in the area. Before the new mayor, Lacey, what's her last name?
Beatty.
Beatty, that's it. She called me and said she was totally open for having sidewalks installed up and down Canyon Lane.
What?
Which is something we've been beefing about for a long time. And so therefore, if we could, get her to one of our meetings and hear from the rest of the neighborhood, especially the board members, as far as our concerns, that'd be great. And I think that the plumbing project that we were talking about earlier with Jerry and Chris, it's necessary. It's just not their property. It's also, it also involves 10 other properties that could benefit from this, which would be a big plus for West Slope. And they would also have to take care of the fact that, the way some of the sewer system ties together, they'd have to examine the whole system and make some, tweaks here and there. Because, that whole project on 75th Terrace went in, no problem. There's 10 houses there.
I think we were hoping to get some, at least a couple of folks coming to the next meeting to discuss all of that.
Yes.
I guess other input would be is perhaps we should put changing the meeting on the agenda for next month as well. Changing the meeting night. I have a regular Monday night meeting on the third Monday of every month as well. So
what about
I
Thursday?
built my schedule around the NAC meetings being on Tuesday. I guess it's a possibility we could change it to not all the time, but a special meeting if we were going to have input from people who are meeting on Tuesday nights. But perhaps something that would be better.
But then we'd have to get new signs, which we have to do anyway.
Yeah.
What about Thursdays? Anybody got a problem with Thursday?
I'd have to check.
Okay. So it would be nice to be more in touch with the city council, but we can't.
I agree.
Because they cannot be here on Tuesdays. As that's.
Franziska, what do the other NACs? Do any other NACs have meetings on Tuesdays?
So the Sexton Mountain Neighbors Southwest meeting happens on Tuesdays. That's actually happening tonight. Let me take a look here. I believe that there might be one more, but by and large, that is a consideration. I mean, there's only obviously so many nights of the month for all of the NAC meetings, but let's see. So yeah, the Five Oaks Triple Creek NAC also meets on Tuesday night. So those are the 3 out of the 11.
I think that's Mark Sansucci's NAC too. I mean, that's the one that he's in. I remember him saying that. So regardless, so it might be, so what do we do? Those other people can't have board members if they have it on Tuesday night. I mean.
So other NACs have moved their meeting nights before. So it's just a matter of, the NAC voting for it, and we can make sure all of the necessary stuff gets changed to reflect that. But obviously, I completely understand and appreciate that people plan their, the meeting has been on Tuesday nights forever. And so people plan their life around that. So it's really however, the NAC wants to handle that. I mean, if you did want to have a special meeting and change it to a different night to accommodate, leadership, that's totally possible. There's also, I mean, the city council, I can't remember if it's the last year, like I know, for example, this month, they don't meet on or next month in March, they don't meet on the last Tuesday of the month. I think that is because it's the 5th Tuesday. I think they always take that off. But that's not consistent from month to month.
So wait, they meet every Tuesday?
Yes. Yeah, basically every Tuesday. So there are some stretches of the year where they'll take a hiatus, but you can pretty consistently rely on there being a Tuesday night council meeting.
Terry, how often does the planning commission meet?
Well, we're
Scheduled.
we're project dependent. So for example, we do not technically have a meeting scheduled for the foreseeable future. So they've slotted us in for a training session in mid-March. But it's something that I cannot commit to be available. So I always have to have that comes first.
Right.
So is that scheduled for every week potentially?
Yeah,
or?
it's scheduled for every Wednesday and then canceled if there aren't any projects to approve. But it is thought of as being every single Wednesday.
Yeah, so Wednesday wouldn't be available. I can do Monday or Thursday.
I mean, you could also, if it's a matter of it being, I mean, you could move it to literally any other day of the month, in terms of if the third Monday isn't conducive, that's really just for the board to decide upon. But, it really, we've had NACs move to a completely different week in the month to accommodate, different things. So there's a lot of latitude for the NAC to decide what works best for them. So it doesn't have to specifically be within the third week. I mean, we try to not have too many NAC meetings on the same night just because one of us needs to be there to help facilitate in the virtual environment. So we definitely don't want more than 3 NACs in one night, but there's a lot of latitude outside of that.
Yeah, maybe we can look at that next month and then see what the other schedules are.
Hello?
We can hear you, Carl.
Okay, so the reason you're here tonight is because Miles is at another meeting, correct?
Yes, but Miles would normally be here and I would be at that other meeting. So we'd both be at a meeting on the 3rd Tuesday.
May I finish?
Sure.
So the reason you're here tonight is because you have several other NACs that have Tuesday night meetings also. So us moving to another night would not be a huge problem with the community department, correct?
No, not at all.
Okay. It would just be an infringement upon us getting used to be meeting on a different night, which sounds like a Thursday night now. And then our only problem, is that I would have to take out a magic marker and redo our sandwich boards
Oh,
to
Franziska
say Thursday instead of Tuesday, and just changing our reservations at the local school, which at this point won't be a problem till September.
So speaking of that, I mean, we don't actually know what the future of reservations for the school district are going to be because of how COVID has changed things.
Okay.
And we would take care of that anyway. Miles handles the reservations with the school district, but if it's helpful, I created a document for us internally a while back that shows when all of the different NACs and all of the boards and commissions meet. So I can pull that up really quick. It's kind of like at a glance. If that's helpful, I can also email it out to the board after the meeting here. So let me.
Franziska, we're
Yep.
different. We're not part of Beaverton Public Schools. So Miles doesn't contact them.
Oh, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that. I don't attend West Slope NAC enough. So here, well, that said, I mean, I still think that because of how COVID has affected things, I think that there's a very good chance that they won't
People meet
be
on Thursday.
hosting.
Holy Moses.
Yeah, there's a very good chance that schools won't be hosting outside organizations anymore just because of risk levels.
Yeah, my whole point of doing this was to get more access to the city council and the mayor, from time to time. But it looks like we'd have to sit in line because everybody else.
Looks like the third Thursday would be open.
We could make as long as we don't have more than 3, that's fine. So, that we've got that second Thursday that has, 3. But, as long as there's one of us that can attend, then, the virtual meeting can go on, because we have to have it set up under a somebody's account, and we can't have conflicting meetings under the same account. So
This doesn't continue.
and the Greenway NAC only meets quarterly. So, yeah, I mean, you could do the third Thursday. That's totally fine. You could do the third Monday. Obviously, there's nothing going on there. And you don't have to worry about boards and commissions competing, except for Terry Lawler being a planning commissioner, as that is crucial to this conversation, obviously. But yeah, so it just really depends on what you want to do. If it's helpful, I can email this out to the board, and then folks can, kind of chew on it a little bit if they want, and potentially come back with some suggestions.
Well, my whole point, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, is that since we're doing these virtual meetings,
Mhm.
all we need is for them to dial in for 10 minutes, 5 more minutes, take questions. It's not like they have to come to our actual in-person meeting and hang out for an hour or two, and put a serious dent in their evening plans. All they have to do is call in and say hi, especially the new mayor. Hey, I'm your new mayor. Hey, how's it going? And then say hi for 10 minutes, and that's it. I mean, it's not that big. It's not that hard to do.
Sure. No, I completely understand what you're saying. It still does require that they be available. So, so that's why council meeting nights, even though it's not a big ask of them, it still wouldn't jive with, their obligation, because this would be a competing time.
Cool.
I just did a check of my calendar. I'm probably available on the third Thursday. So Carl, if you want to put that on the agenda next month, and everyone can check their calendars, and maybe we can make a decision then.
Okay, no problem. You got it. It's something, it's just something to think about. And then if it works out for everybody, that'll be great. Oh,
I have regular meetings on Wednesdays as well, so.
Joe, you're a very busy man.
Are we winding up? I do want to mention something. I'm going to participate by Zoom at this earthquake. It's called Quake Out, sponsored by the Cedar Hill group. I just got another Nextdoor notification. It's tomorrow night. I think it's at 7:30. Anyway, this is a very well-organized group talking about earthquake preparedness for those of us who need a primer. Not you, Joe. Anyway, I think it's going to I think it'll be a good forum for us to be reminded of what we need to do if we haven't done it yet to prepare ourselves for the eventual earthquake. Anyway, tomorrow night.
And there'll be mentions, lost cats will be mentioned.
Our coyotes.
Exactly. So yeah, how did everybody do during the snow thing? Just real quick.
Have not been outside.
The
And no newspaper, no mail.
the city's
We actually got mail today for the first time.
oh, that's exciting. The city plowed a lovely snow wall onto my driveway that was like 2.5 feet tall. And so I had to take a shovel pick and my snow shovel and dig myself out for several hours. Because, like renters have to do essential worker jobs generally and don't get to just stay home. And it doesn't really matter if you're stuck. Your people say, come in. So that was not my favorite. And lots of people were being rude in the street as I was like trying to dig that out because I had to be in Canyon Road in order to dig out my driveway. So I finally just stuck a shovel in the middle of the lane and so that they would drive around me and stop driving so close to me as I was digging out the driveway. But that's not, I was surprised that we didn't lose power. Most everyone that I know in Multnomah Village area or Beaverton lost power at some point, and we kept power and internet the entire time.
Yeah, that was good.
And John and Dawn will still be coming by on Wednesday. Right? Yeah. I got it. Yeah.
How are we supposed to know that?
Yeah, I got to put my trash out.
Yeah, how are we supposed to know that? Because they didn't send us a notification or anything.
Hey, if they can get up the street, they're fine.
Well, because our trash day is Monday and we didn't get mail on Monday. And like I said, there was this wall of snow. So we didn't even bother putting out the cans. But I don't know. I guess I can just text them. I know they have a number somewhere.
Yeah, you call John direct. Yeah, just go look up West Slope Garbage Service and he'll talk to you right away. Very nice man. And so's Dawn, his helper, also. Those two guys do a great job, and I'm sure I'll have them back probably for the May meeting. See how they're going, because last I heard, I think John was thinking about selling the business. So if anybody wants to get in trash hauling, you let them know. It's very lucrative. Okay, so I have no updates whatsoever from Portland Public Schools, despite my best efforts, like I said earlier. So I don't know what's up with the, going to be up with the funding, for one thing, for the athletic field changeover. So I'm going to keep trying to get somebody from them to show up. But I think they have a lot on their plate right now. Who cares about football practice field right now? They have to get their schools open and things like that. But it'd be nice. That's why I was hoping to get the principal in here, just to let everybody know about what's going on with the school itself and what their plans might be and what their overall schedule might be as far as when all the teachers might get their vaccine and have the kids back into school, because I know a lot of people are very worried about that. And I know there's a lot of parents in my neighborhood that are extremely anxious for that to maybe happen in the near future. Can we get those kids back into school, please? But so anybody else got anything else they want to hear from anybody? Because I also had the Red Cross is going to come. They emailed me saying they wanted to come to one of our meetings. So they're coming to the March meeting for a 20-minute representation. And then hopefully we'll have our, what we've been talking about, our good buddy Eduardo coming to the March meeting with his report on what we're going to do with this capital improvement plan for right here in the middle of West Slope, which will probably be the first one in a long time. You know, like I said, I think that sewer, you know, Joe said the sewer project was 01 or later, a little bit later. So anyway, that's what the city's helping us out with. And then hopefully by that time, yeah, we'll take up the vote and maybe change our meeting night. And then after that, we'll hear from the mayor and the city council at some point down the road, but not next month. Anybody else got any new concerns? Any old business? Okay. Well, I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? So adjourned. Thank you all for showing up tonight. Cool meeting.